Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Legacy here. Today, we're exploring a pretty wild fanfic scenario. What if Naruto ate the Gomu-Gomu no Mi? This is part 2, and final that if you enjoy these kinds of stories, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you're always in the loop when a new one drops. Let's set a small goal, 63 likes on this video. I know we can hit it. Alright, let's get into it. The battle's echoes faded, but the bridge was still thick with tension. Workers patched ropes and swept away ice shards while Team 7 kept watch for any sign of Zabuza or Haku's return. For the first time, the villagers looked at Naruto with something close to awe. As Tazuna thanked everyone again, the bridge workers gathered around Naruto. "We heard what you did, kid. Never seen moves like that in all my years." A younger worker grinned. "Are all ninjas from the Leaf Village this weird?" Naruto puffed out his chest, hands on his hips. "Weirder. Especially me." The crew laughed, a little relief breaking through the day's nerves. Later, as the sun dipped low, Team 7 made their way back to Tazuna's house for dinner. Naruto dragged his tired feet, replaying the rescue in his mind. Was this what it felt like to be a hero? People were grateful, not afraid. His teammates had his back. Even Sasuke, in his usual low-key way, gave him a nod as they walked. Inside, Tsunami, Tazuna's daughter, set a big meal on the table. "Eat up, everyone. You earned it." As they sat down, Sakura scooted closer to Naruto than usual. "I meant what I said earlier. You really scared me, you know." Naruto blinked, not quite sure what to say. "Sorry, Sakura. I just couldn't let anyone get hurt." Sakura blushed. "Just be careful, okay?" Hinata, there on an errand with her team, brought over a bowl of soup. Her eyes darted to the floor as she handed it to Naruto. I was so worried when I saw you fall. But you were amazing, Naruto." He grinned, scratching his head. "Guess I bounced back fast, huh?" Tenten and Temari, passing through with the other Konoha teams, stopped by the door. "Nice work, hero," Tenten called. Temari added, "You keep this up, and you'll be famous before you ever become Hokage." Naruto's cheeks burned, and Sakura rolled her eyes. But the warmth in the room felt real. A team, a village, and friends who believed in him, even if he still doubted himself sometimes. Later that night, Naruto snuck out for some air, standing at the edge of the bridge under the stars. He didn't notice Sakura until she was standing beside him, arms folded. "You're always pushing yourself," she said, not looking at him. "It's scary, but it's also what makes you different." In a good way. Naruto smiled, the misty breeze brushing his face. "I just want to protect everyone. That's my ninja way." Sakura nudged his arm with her shoulder. "Well, your way is starting to rub off on the rest of us. Keep it up, okay?" Before Naruto could reply, Hinata peeked around the corner, eyes wide and hopeful. Can I stand with you too?" "Of course," Naruto called, waving her over. "The more, the better." As the three stood together, the moon shining down, Naruto felt a surge of hope. Tomorrow would be tough. He knew Zabuza and Haku weren't done. But tonight, he wasn't alone. He was part of something bigger. Dawn broke cold and gray over the land of waves, the mist swirling thick around the unfinished bridge. The air felt different, electric, dangerous. Naruto woke before anyone else, restless energy sparking through his veins. Today, he knew everything would change. By the time Team 7 arrived on the bridge with Tazuna, the world had gone eerily quiet. Even the birds seemed to know something big was coming. Sakura stood close to Naruto, nervously watching every shadow. Sasuke was all business, eyes sharp, kunai ready. Kakashi gave them a steady look. "Remember what we practiced. Stay together. Protect Tazuna and each other." Naruto nodded, fists clenched. He thought about Sakura and Hinata, about his friends cheering him on, and about his promise to never run away. The enemy came like ghosts in the mist. Zabuza's massive sword gleamed as he stepped onto the bridge, Haku drifting behind him, hidden behind his mask. "Ready, Kakashi?" Zabuza called, voice like gravel. Kakashi stepped forward, his Sharingan eye uncovered. "I was born ready." Without another word, the battle exploded. Kakashi and Zabuza clashed steel on steel, blades ringing out. Haku slipped away, and suddenly, Naruto and Sasuke found themselves face to face with the masked ninja in a dome of swirling mirrors. Inside the mirror prison, the fight was brutal. Haku's speed was unreal, bouncing between reflections, hurling ice needles from all directions. Sasuke tried to counter with fire jutsu, but the cold was overwhelming. Naruto, heart pounding, remembered his training by the river. He drew chakra into his arm, letting it stretch as he spun it. Gomu-Gomu no whip. His attack cracked a mirror, but Haku was already behind him, launching another volley of needles. Sasuke gritted his teeth. "We have to work together." Naruto nodded, stretching his arms around Sasuke, using himself as a human shield. The needles bounced off his rubbery skin, and for a second, Sasuke looked at him with something like respect. "Your turn," Naruto yelled. Sasuke unleashed a barrage of shuriken, using Naruto's arms as a springboard to jump higher than ever before, catching Haku off guard and shattering another mirror. For the first time, Haku looked genuinely surprised. "You two are stronger than you seem." Naruto grinned, panting. "We're not done yet." Outside the dome, Sakura defended Tazuna with everything she had. A bandit tried to break through, and Sakura, emboldened by Naruto's courage, stood her ground. Hinata, assigned as backup by Kurenai, joined in, using gentle fist strikes to help keep the workers safe. Tenten and Temari, watching from the bridge in trance, cheered for Team 7. Even they couldn't believe how far Naruto had come. Back in the dome, Naruto felt the pressure mounting. Haku's attacks grew faster, but Naruto refused to back down. Channeling every ounce of determination, he tried the move he'd practiced for days. Gomu-Gomu no Rasengan. His spinning, stretched arm slammed into a mirror, shattering it completely and sending Haku flying backward. For a heartbeat, everything went still. Haku landed hard, mask cracking. Naruto rushed over, out of breath but burning with resolve. "You don't have to fight us," Naruto shouted. "You're not our enemy." Not really. For a moment, Haku hesitated, pain and confusion flickering in his eyes. But outside the dome, Zabuza howled, calling his tool back into the fray. Haku, torn, began to rise again. Naruto stood tall, battered but unbroken, and called out to his friends, "Don't give up. We can do this, together." And as the mist swirled and the final clash began, everyone on the bridge, from Konoha and Suna and beyond, felt the spark of something new. Hope. The air on the bridge was heavy with tension and mist, broken only by the echo of clashing blades and shouts. As the last shards of Haku's mirrors dissolved into icy rain, Team 7 stood their ground, bruised, battered, but unbroken. Kakashi faced down Zabuza, both men gasping for breath. "Give up, Zabuza. It's over." Zabuza staggered, blood running from his mouth. For a moment, he glanced at Haku, who was kneeling nearby, mask broken, eyes downcast. Haku's gaze met Naruto's. "Why? Why did you fight so hard for someone like me?" Naruto's answer was simple, fierce. "Because you're not a tool. You're a person. No one deserves to fight alone." The word struck something deep inside Haku. He closed his eyes, tears slipping down his face as the years of pain, loneliness, and duty cracked. "Thank you, Naruto." Zabuza's grip on his sword trembled. For the first time, he saw Haku not as a weapon, but as a boy who had cared for him. In a final act of defiance, Zabuza turned on Gato and his thugs, those who had used and discarded him. Kakashi and Team 7 jumped in to help, but it was Zabuza who landed the decisive blow, collapsing in the process. The thugs scattered, and suddenly the mist began to clear. The battle was over. Silence fell on the bridge. Sakura rushed to Naruto's side, checking his wounds with trembling hands. Sasuke slumped to his knees, exhausted but alive. Tazuna stared in shock. "You did it, you all did it." Naruto, arms hanging limp but stretchy as ever, looked around at his friends. The villagers, who'd been cowering at the bridge's far end, crept forward. For the first time, they saw Naruto and all of Team 7, not as children, but as heroes. Hinata hurried to Naruto's side, eyes shining with relief. "I was so scared, but you never gave up." Tenten, Temari, and the other genin from the allied teams gathered, offering words of praise and amazement at Naruto's wild, stretchy courage. Even Sasuke, grinning in spite of himself, slapped Naruto on the back. "Not bad, rubberhead." Naruto grinned, tears stinging his eyes. For a moment, he let himself feel it. He was a hero. The villagers, inspired by Naruto's words and Team 7's bravery, rallied together to help finish the bridge. In the days that followed, Naruto became a local legend. Kids tried stretching their arms, mimicking his moves. The bridge workers brought food and gifts, thanking the young ninja for saving their lives and their future. One night, as the team watched the sunset from the completed bridge, Sakura and Hinata sat on either side of Naruto, sharing a peaceful quiet. Tintin and Temari joined, offering a toast with rice balls and laughter. Kakashi, hands in his pockets, stood at a distance but watched his team with pride. Tazuna spoke for everyone when he declared, "From now on, this is the Great Naruto Bridge. For the hero who saved us all." Naruto blinked, stunned. For the first time, he didn't know what to say, but deep down he knew. His dream was closer than ever, and he was no longer alone. The journey back to Konoha felt completely different from the way out. The air was warmer, the packs felt lighter, and Naruto bounced along with a new kind of confidence. Arms swinging, smile wide, the wind in his wild blonde hair. Villagers from the land of waves lined the bridge to see them off, cheering and tossing flower petals. Tazuna hugged each of them in turn, even Sasuke, who looked awkward but didn't protest. Naruto tried to act cool, but as they crossed the Great Naruto Bridge, he blinked back tears. "Think they'll ever name a bridge after you, Sasuke?" he teased, grinning. Sasuke just smirked. "Not if you're in every story, rubberhead." Sakura elbowed both of them, rolling her eyes. "Let's just get home. I need a real bath and a meal that's not fish." Konoha's gates never looked so welcoming. Word had spread fast. Team 7 had defeated Zabuza and saved the land of waves. The gate guards gave them a salute, and even the old shopkeepers smiled and waved. Iruka met them outside the academy, holding a welcome home banner with a group of their classmates. Hinata, Ino, Tintin, and even Temari, staying as a guest with the Suna embassy, were there. "Naruto," Hinata called, eyes shining. She handed him a small package wrapped in blue cloth. "I made you, some sweets to celebrate." Ino nudged Naruto with a grin. "Don't get too full of yourself, hero. We all heard you turned into a human slingshot." Tintin winked. "If you ever want to join the weapons team, you'd fit right in." Temari crossed her arms, trying to look unimpressed, but there was a rare smile tugging at her lips. "Guess you're tougher than you look, Uzumaki." Naruto's face went red as he tried to keep up with the attention. Sakura gave him a playful shove. "Go on, rubber boy. Take a bow." So Naruto did, stretching his arms wide and bowing until his forehead nearly brushed the ground. The crowd burst into laughter and applause. That evening, the celebration continued at Ichiraku Ramen. The stand was packed. Team 7, their classmates, Iruka, Kakashi, with his orange book, pretending not to smile, and even some of the Hokage's staff. Ramen bowls stacked up as Naruto ate faster than ever, Hinata sneaking glances and Sakura trying to keep him from starting a noodle-flinging contest. Ino and Tintin challenged each other to see who could get Naruto to stretch and grab a ramen bowl from the farthest table. Temari told wild stories from Suna, and even Sasuke couldn't hide a grin as Naruto's rubber arms wowed everyone with their reach. Kakashi raised a bowl. "To teamwork, and to Naruto, the only genin who can save a bridge and eat more ramen than me." Everyone cheered, and for once, Naruto felt like he belonged. Later that night, as he lay in bed staring at the ceiling, Naruto let the happiness soak in. He'd gone from outcast to hero, from lonely to surrounded by friends, and, if he was honest, a lot of girls paying him attention he never expected. His dreams felt closer, and as the village buzzed with rumors of the coming Chunin exams, Naruto couldn't wait to prove himself all over again. Konoha hadn't felt this alive in years. Everywhere Naruto went, ninja from other villages filled the streets. Weird hair, wild clothes, and eyes sizing up the competition. The Chunin exams were about to start, and for the first time, Naruto wasn't an outsider. He was in the thick of it, grinning ear to ear. Even with the crowd, he stuck out. Kids whispered as he walked by, some pointing and laughing, others watching with curiosity. "There's the rubber ninja. He's the one from the bridge, right? Didn't he eat, like, 10 bowls of ramen in one go?" Naruto soaked it up, but couldn't help feeling a little nervous. This was the big leagues. No do-overs, no hiding. And with so many visitors, the pressure and the rivalry were at an all-time high. Team 7 met outside the academy, Sakura practically bouncing with nerves, Sasuke pretending he didn't care. Naruto grinned, stretching his arms behind his head, ready to show everyone what we can do. Sasuke just smirked. "Try not to embarrass us." Sakura punched Naruto's arm, but not too hard. "Don't you dare flake out this time." Kakashi appeared with his usual easygoing slouch. "Remember, these exams aren't just about strength. You'll need your heads, and each other. And Naruto." He raised an eyebrow. Try not to break the walls this year. Naruto puffed up. No promises, sensei. As they entered the exam building, the tension was electric. Inside, dozens of teams were already waiting. Ino waved them over, her team looking smug. Hey, forehead girl, Sasuke, Naruto. Think you'll make it past the written test? Sakura shot back. At least I don't have to rely on Naruto's rubber arms to pass. Tenten and Lee joined in, Tenten winking at Naruto. Heard you're the only guy who can stretch for miles and still miss the target. Temari appeared with her Sand siblings, cool and confident. So this is the Leaf's big hero? Hope you don't snap under pressure, Uzumaki. Naruto grinned. You'll see what I can do, Temari. You too, Tenten. Hinata hung back with her team, but gave Naruto a shy, hopeful wave. Kiba rolled his eyes, but even he grinned. Don't go flinging yourself across the classroom, man. Before the exam started, the proctor, a mean-looking guy named Ibiki, barked for silence. You're here because you want to be Chunin. Most of you will fail. Cheaters get caught. They're out. Ready or not. Let's see what you've got. Naruto's stomach lurched. He glanced at Sakura and Sasuke, both looking focused. He glanced at the crowd, Ino winking, Hinata giving a quiet nod, Temari raising her eyebrow in a challenge. Naruto took a deep breath and sat down, stretching his fingers and shaking out his nerves. No matter what happens, he thought, I'm not backing down. I'll show everyone, girls, rivals, and the whole world, that being different is my greatest strength. The first test was about to begin. If Naruto thought the Chunin exams would start with some wild ninja duel, he was dead wrong. Instead, Ibiki's glare pinned every genin to their seats as he slammed a stack of test papers onto each desk. No talking. No cheating. 10 questions. Ninjas who get caught are out, along with their whole team. Naruto glanced at the paper. The first question looked like it was written in another language. His heart dropped into his sandals. Sakura, next to him, scribbled away, confident as ever. Sasuke looked relaxed. He always was in tests. But Naruto's palms sweated as he stared at the jumble of words. All around him, pencils scratched and erasers squeaked. Naruto stretched his fingers behind his head, hoping an answer would pop into his brain. Nothing. That's when the mayhem began. Temari, a few rows back, shot him a sly smirk. Tenten kept glancing over, trying to catch Naruto's eye. Ino, across the aisle, pantomimed think with her hands, then pointed at Sakura's paper. Hinata, cheeks pink, sent a small, encouraging nod. Naruto stretched his leg under the table, hoping to tap Sakura's foot for a hint, but ended up tangling his rubbery toes with Sasuke's instead. Sasuke hissed, knock it off. Naruto grinned sheepishly, retracting his leg so fast his desk shook. Ibiki's glare landed on him. Is there a problem, Uzumaki? Nope. Naruto squeaked, sitting up straight, wishing the floor would swallow him. He tried to get creative. He stretched his neck ever so slightly to peek at Hinata's paper, but snapped back when Kiba cleared his throat threateningly. He looked for any clue in the room. Nothing. Panic rose in his chest. The whole class was tense. Some teams already got caught cheating and left in tears. Then, Naruto remembered what Kakashi said. These exams aren't just about strength. Use your head and trust your team. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He didn't need to cheat. He needed to believe in himself. That was always his thing. The final question landed on every desk. Hard. If you get this one wrong, you can never take the Chunin exams again. If you leave now, you can try again next year. Murmurs broke out. Some genin stood and left, defeated. Sakura gripped her pencil tight, glancing at Naruto. Sasuke didn't move. Naruto's pulse pounded. He looked up at Ibiki. I'm not leaving. No matter what. Even if I fail, I'm not giving up. The room went silent. Ibiki's lips twitched into the ghost of a smile. Congratulations. That's the true test. Never give up. All of you who stayed pass. Cheers broke out as the tension snapped. Naruto sagged in his chair, relief flooding him. Afterward, everyone gathered in the hall, the adrenaline still humming. Temari grinned, elbowing Naruto. You really don't know how to quit, do you? Ino ruffled his hair. Only you would almost fail because you're too stubborn and too obvious. Tenten offered him a high five. Hinata handed him a handkerchief. Eyes shy. I knew you could do it, Naruto. Even Sakura couldn't help but laugh. You're an idiot, but you're our idiot. Naruto's chest swelled with pride, surrounded by rivals, friends, and more attention than he'd ever dreamed. For once, it felt like not fitting in was the secret to standing out. The forest of death didn't look so bad from the outside, just a tangle of trees, all shadows and green. But when Naruto and his friends stood at the gate, surrounded by rival teams and a proctor with a mean smile, Anko, who licked her lips like she'd eat a genin for breakfast, his nerves started to tingle. "All you need is the opposite scroll," Anko barked. "Get it and make it to the tower alive. Simple, right?" Naruto gulped, feeling his stomach twist. Sasuke just shrugged. Sakura squeezed her fists, determination in her eyes. Team 7 exchanged a quick nod. The gate creaked open, and the mayhem began. Inside, the forest swallowed them whole. Bugs buzzed, branches snagged, and the air was thick and muggy. Naruto's rubber powers turned into both a blessing and a curse. He could swing from trees and scout ahead in seconds, but every time he tried to show off, he nearly wiped out his team. At one point, Naruto stretched his arm to snag an apple from a high branch. A giant snake dropped out of nowhere, sending Sakura shrieking behind Sasuke, who leapt into action. Naruto flailed, bouncing from tree to tree, finally landing with his rubbery limbs tangled around the snake's tail. "Some hero," Sasuke snorted, but he sliced the snake's head off with a flash. Sakura hugged Naruto in relief, then promptly shoved him for scaring her. "Stop being reckless. We need you in one piece." Other teams were everywhere, and not all were friendly. Temari and her brothers watched Team 7 with interest, Gaara as creepy as ever, Kankuro taunting Naruto with, "Hey, stretch. Can you tie yourself in a knot to hide?" Tenten and Hinata's teams crossed paths, too. Tenten tossed Naruto a spare kunai with a wink, "Just in case you need an extra hand." Hinata blushed, offering Naruto a canteen. "Please, be careful, okay?" Naruto's heart thumped. He gave her his biggest grin. "Don't worry. Rubber bounces back." Danger closed in fast. An enemy team attacked with a hail of shuriken. Naruto, thinking quick, stretched his torso like a wall, shielding Sakura and taking the brunt. The shuriken stuck in his rubber skin, harmlessly bouncing off. Sasuke countered with fire jutsu, and Sakura finished the last attacker with a perfectly timed punch. When it was over, Naruto's arms wobbled like jelly, but he stood tall, pride shining on his face. As night fell, Team 7 made camp in the crook of a tree. Sakura cleaned Naruto's wounds, mumbling about how he was impossible and amazing in equal measure. Hinata appeared just before dusk, quietly handing him a good luck charm she'd made from wildflowers. Tenten and Temari dropped in from above, literally, just checking on the competition. Ino, passing by with her team, rolled her eyes. "With all these girls, you'd better make it to the tower, Naruto, or we'll never hear the end of it." Naruto looked at his mismatched, wild group of friends and rivals, and for the first time since entering the forest, he wasn't scared at all. The forest of death was full of danger, but Naruto was starting to think, just maybe, he was even harder to kill. Night in the forest of death was darker than anything Naruto had ever felt. Every branch looked like a claw, every gust of wind sounded like a predator's breath. Team 7 huddled close around a flickering campfire, taking turns on watch while bugs buzzed and shadows slithered. Naruto tried to keep the mood light. "Bet you 5 Rio, I can grab a scroll from across the clearing without leaving this log," he whispered, stretching his arm with a grin. Sakura rolled her eyes, but she couldn't help a small smile. Sasuke stayed focused, sharp eyes scanning the darkness. Suddenly, a rustle, too loud, too smooth. Something was moving their way. Out of the shadows stepped a tall, pale ninja with yellow snake eyes and a wicked smile. Naruto felt his blood run cold. Even Sasuke tensed, kunai in hand. "Good evening, children," the stranger purred. "What an interesting collection of talents you have, especially you, Uzumaki." Naruto shivered, but tried to put on his brave face. "Who the heck are you?" The man's grin widened. "Call me Orochimaru. I've heard rumors of a genin who can stretch like rubber, who bounces back from everything. I just had to see for myself." Before anyone could blink, Orochimaru moved, faster than human, a blur of pale hands and fangs. Naruto snapped his arm out, rubbery fist aimed straight for the enemy's face. Orochimaru caught it, twisting his wrist. "Fascinating. Devil Fruit Chakra and the Nine Tails power. You're truly unique." Sasuke leapt into action, shuriken flying. Sakura grabbed Naruto and pulled him back, but Orochimaru barely flinched, dodging and striking like a serpent. Naruto wriggled free, fear and fury mixing in his gut. "I'm not your experiment." He stretched his arms wide. Gomu-Gomu no whip, and sent a wave of force at Orochimaru, knocking the enemy back a step. For a split second, the snake ninja looked delighted. "So much potential. I look forward to seeing how you grow, little rubber ninja. But the fight wasn't over. Orochimaru weaved hand signs, sending a giant snake barreling toward Team 7. Naruto twisted his torso around Sakura, shielding her from the attack, while Sasuke unleashed a burst of fire. The snake recoiled, and together, they forced it back into the undergrowth. Orochimaru laughed, slithering into the darkness. Survive if you can. I'll be watching. His words lingered, cold as the night air. Team 7 collapsed in the clearing, breathing hard. Sakura clung to Naruto, her voice shaking. Thank you. You really are impossible. You know that. Sasuke knelt beside them. His pride stung, but his respect for Naruto growing. That wasn't just luck, dope. You kept us alive. From nearby, Temari and Tintin, drawn by the commotion, emerged. Temari's eyes widened at the sight of Naruto's battered but unbroken form. You really don't quit, do you? Tintin offered Naruto a bandage, smiling. If you can fight like that, we might just make it through this forest. Even Hinata, creeping in with her team, whispered, You're the bravest ninja I know, Naruto. As the adrenaline faded and dawn started to break, Naruto looked around at his friends, rivals, teammates, and a growing circle of girls who believed in him. He was exhausted and sore, but somehow more determined than ever. No matter how many monsters came after them, snakes or otherwise, he would bounce back. After the nightmare of the Forest of Death, Team 7 stumbled into the tower battered, bruised, but unbroken. Naruto's arms still ached from fighting Orochimaru's giant snake, and Sakura kept fussing over every scratch. Sasuke stayed quiet, gaze distant but fire in his eyes. But when the proctors called for the surviving teams to assemble, something changed in the air. The genin who made it this far looked different, sharper, more determined, and ready for anything. The next test would be a series of one-on-one battles. The Chunin exam preliminaries. Lose, and you were out. Win, and you'd be one step closer to becoming a Chunin. Naruto stretched his arms above his head, forcing a grin. All right, I'll show everyone what a rubber ninja can do. Sakura rolled her eyes, but her smile was proud. Sasuke, standing beside him, finally nodded. Just don't get knocked out in the first round. Hinata, Tintin, Ino, and Temari lingered nearby, each quietly rooting for Naruto, some more obvious than others. The matchups flashed across the big screen. Naruto's first fight, Kiba Inuzuka. Kiba barked out a laugh. You ready to get flattened, Naruto? Akamaru and I have been waiting for this. Naruto grinned, feeling nerves but also excitement. Just don't blink, Kiba, or you'll miss it. The fight started fast. Kiba charged in, Akamaru leaping alongside him. Naruto dodged the first strike, stretching his legs to jump higher than anyone in the room expected. Gomu-Gomu no spring. Naruto bounced across the ring, arms snapping out to keep Kiba guessing. Kiba and Akamaru moved like a single beast, their attacks wild and coordinated. Kiba tossed a smoke bomb, filling the air with haze. Naruto stretched his nose to sniff out the pair, surprising everyone, including Kiba himself. Did you just sniff me from across the arena? Kiba yelped. Naruto laughed. You're not the only one with animal moves. The crowd burst out laughing. Even the proctors grinned. Kiba went in for his signature Fong over Fong attack. Naruto braced himself, stretching his arms out wide. When Kiba spun toward him, Naruto bent backward like a slingshot and caught Kiba mid-spin, rubbery arms absorbing the impact, then flinging Kiba into the air. Kiba landed with a thud, dizzy and stunned. Akamaru barked in disbelief. Winner, Naruto Uzumaki. The arena erupted in cheers. Hinata clapped shyly, Tintin and Ino high-fived, and Temari gave Naruto a rare, impressed smirk. Naruto bounced over to his friends, grinning ear to ear. Sakura hugged him tight before realizing what she was doing and pushing him away, red-faced. Not bad, rubber boy, Sasuke said, for once actually smiling. Naruto looked around at the crowd, friends, rivals, and a whole new world watching him. He wasn't just the underdog anymore. He was a real contender, and for the first time, he believed he could go all the way. The preliminaries kept rolling, and the matches got fiercer by the minute. Naruto's wild victory over Kiba was still the talk of the arena. Every genin in the stands had their eyes on him, some impressed, some jealous, and a few just waiting to see what the rubber ninja would do next. Sakura fussed over his scratches, dabbing his cheek with a cloth. You always make everything into a circus, you know that? Naruto just grinned, wincing. Yeah, but at least people are finally watching me for the right reasons. Ino popped over, tossing her hair. That was almost cool, Naruto. Next time, try to look less like you're flying out of a cannon, though. Hinata hovered nearby, hands clasped, eyes bright with pride. I knew you'd win, Naruto. You're amazing. Even Temari, leaning against the railing with arms crossed, called out, not bad, stretch. But don't get cocky. The sand's just getting started. Tenten high-fived Naruto as she walked past, her smile sly. You've raised the bar. Now I can't let you outshine me. Naruto's cheeks burned. All this attention was weird, but in the best way possible. The next match stunned everyone. Hinata versus Neji. Naruto watched with his fists clenched. He hated seeing Hinata's cousin talk her down, and as the fight started, he found himself yelling encouragement. Come on, Hinata. Show him what you're made of. The crowd was shocked by how hard Hinata fought. She was bruised and outmatched, but she refused to quit. Her final stand, shaking and determined, inspired not just Naruto, but the entire arena. When it was over and Hinata collapsed, Naruto ran to her side, kneeling close as Sakura started first aid. Hinata, barely conscious, managed a soft, grateful smile. Thank you for believing in me, Naruto. Naruto took her hand, not caring who saw. You were amazing, Hinata. Never let anyone tell you otherwise. As the medics carried Hinata off, Ino and Tenten joined Sakura to offer comfort, and even Temari, never one to show much emotion, gave a small, respectful nod. Back in the waiting area, Naruto's friends crowded around him. Sasuke, silent as always, finally spoke up, voice low. Don't let it get to your head, dope. There are tougher fights ahead. Naruto looked at each of them, his teammates, his rivals, the girls who supported him, and the friends who believed in him even when he didn't believe in himself. For the first time, Naruto realized he wasn't fighting just for his own dream anymore. He was fighting for all of them, too. The preliminaries rolled on, each fight more intense than the last. Naruto watched as Sakura went up against Ino, both girls determined, fierce, and by the end, so exhausted they knocked each other out in a dead tie. Naruto cheered for both, waving his rubber arms above his head and drawing more laughs from the crowd. Between matches, the genin rested in the cool shadows of the arena. Temari teased Tenten about her upcoming match. Ino and Sakura bickered, then giggled together, and Naruto found himself in the center of the action as usual. Sasuke, meanwhile, kept to himself, sharpening kunai in the corner and pretending not to watch the fun. But even he couldn't ignore how the girls gravitated toward Naruto. Whether it was Hinata shyly offering him water, Tenten and Ino joking with him, or Temari giving him those challenging, almost admiring looks, Naruto was, for once, the star. Kiba, limping a little from their earlier match, muttered, "Don't let it go to your head, man. Next thing you know, you'll be the Hokage of fangirls." Naruto just grinned, scratching his cheek. Hey, nothing wrong with being popular for a change, but not everyone was thrilled. Sasuke's gaze sharpened as he watched Naruto. Every laugh, every cheer from the girls, every time the crowd called out "Rubber Ninja," made something twist in his chest. He was used to being the best, the one everyone watched. Lately, Naruto was catching up, and not just in the arena. After his own preliminary victory, Sasuke cornered Naruto in the hallway. "You're not stronger than me," Sasuke said, voice cold. "Don't forget that." Naruto blinked, surprised by the edge in Sasuke's words. "I know you're strong, Sasuke, but it's not just about being strong, you know. People want to see something different." Sasuke glared, but said nothing. When Sakura found them a moment later, she noticed the tension and dragged Naruto away with a huff. "Don't let him get to you. He just hates not being in the spotlight." That night, the genin celebrated at Ichiraku Ramen, the stand bustling with teams from every village. Hinata brought Naruto a gift, a homemade Lucky Charm. Ino tried to one-up her with a ribbon for his headband. Tenten, not to be outdone, challenged Naruto to a chopstick race, which Temari promptly turned into a bet. Sakura pretended not to care, but she kept glancing at Naruto, then glaring at any girl who got too close. Through all the noise and friendly rivalry, Naruto realized something important. For the first time in his life, he wasn't just chasing the dream of Hokage alone. He had friends, he had rivals, and he had a whole bunch of girls believing in him, even if they all wanted to be the one by his side when he finally made it. As laughter filled the night, Naruto promised himself, whatever came next, he wouldn't let any of them down. The next morning, the preliminaries resumed, tension humming through the arena. Naruto woke early, half from nerves, half from excitement. He scarfed down Ramen with Hinata and Ino, both eager to wish him luck, then hurried to the stands, his rubbery arms flailing as he waved at Team 7. Today's matches would decide who made it to the final round of the Chunin exams. And first up, Temari versus Tenten. Naruto cheered for both. "Go, Tenten. You got this, Temari," earning a laugh from Sakura and a gentle punch from Ino. Even Sasuke cracked a rare smile at Naruto's double cheerleading. The fight was a blur of flying weapons and swirling wind. Tenten launched scroll after scroll, her kunai raining down like a storm, but Temari's fan whipped up a gust that scattered every attack. It was power versus precision, and everyone in the arena watched, spellbound. In the end, Temari's strategy won out. With a dramatic sweep of her fan, she pinned Tenten to the wall, her weapons scattered across the arena. Afterward, Naruto ran down to congratulate both girls. Tenten was frustrated but smiled at his goofy grin. "Next time, I'm borrowing your rubber arms, Naruto." Temari, flushed and a little breathless, gave Naruto a nod. "You're not bad for a cheerleader, Uzumaki." Sakura raised an eyebrow. "Don't let your head get too big, Naruto." Ino just rolled her eyes and linked arms with Hinata, both girls watching to see who Naruto would talk to next. But the day wasn't just about winning or losing. Between matches, the teams mingled in the stands. Temari and Tenten joined Naruto and his friends, sharing stories from Suna and Konoha, joking about training disasters and wild missions. Even Gaara, usually silent and menacing, watched Naruto with quiet interest, almost like he was sizing up a future rival. Naruto couldn't help but feel the energy, the way the girls teased and encouraged each other, how the boys traded challenges and boasts. For a moment, the pressure of the exams faded. It was just friends, rivals, and maybe something a little more. But as the afternoon sun slanted into the arena, the final matchups were posted. Naruto stared at the board, heart pounding. His next opponent, Neji Hyuga. Hinata stepped up, worry and hope in her eyes. "Be careful, Naruto. He's really strong, but so are you." Sakura grabbed his shoulder. "Show him what you're made of." Tenten squeezed his hand for luck. Temari smirked. "No rubber tricks this time, just win." Even Sasuke, aloof as always, gave a nod. "Don't embarrass us." Surrounded by friends, rivals, and a dozen pairs of eyes that believed in him, Naruto grinned. "Watch me," he said. "I won't lose." The announcement that Naruto would face Neji Hyuga sent ripples through the entire exam crowd. Whispers followed him wherever he went. "Neji's the Hyuga prodigy. He's never lost." "Yeah, but Naruto's not normal anymore. Did you see what he did to Kiba?" Naruto tried to act cool as he left the arena, but his nerves were buzzing. He barely made it 3 steps before Sakura caught up, grabbing his sleeve. "Don't let Neji get in your head," she said firmly. "He talks a big game, but you're not alone." Behind her, Ino and Tenten rushed over. Ino rolled her eyes but grinned. "You'd better win. Otherwise, you'll have to buy me dinner. Or 3 dinners." Tenten handed Naruto a charm for luck. "If you survive, maybe I'll spar you next." Before he could respond, Temari strode over, arms folded, her usual cool confidence showing cracks of concern. "Don't get soft, Uzumaki. If you want to impress me, or anyone, show us something nobody's ever seen." Naruto's face went red, but he nodded. "Thanks, you guys. I'm gonna give it everything I've got." He wasn't expecting Hinata, but suddenly, there she was, fidgeting at the edge of the group. I know how Neji fights," she whispered, eyes shining. "I can help. I want you to win, Naruto. Not just for me, but for everyone who's ever been told they can't." Her words hit him harder than any punch. He smiled, more grateful than he could say. The night before the match, Naruto lay awake staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything. The friends he'd made, the rivals he wanted to surpass, the girls who believed in him even when he doubted himself. He replayed Hinata's advice, Tenten's charm, Sakura's encouragement, Temari's challenge, Ino's jokes. For the first time, it didn't feel like he was about to fight alone. He was fighting for all of them, and for himself. He sat up, determination shining in his eyes. "Believe it. Tomorrow, I'm not holding back." The stadium was packed, sunlight glinting off hundreds of forehead protectors. All of Konoha, plus visitors from every allied and rival village, leaned forward, waiting to see if destiny would hold, or if Naruto Uzumaki would turn the world upside down again. Down in the center, Naruto stretched his arms and rolled his shoulders, bouncing on the balls of his feet. He tried to look cool, but his eyes darted to the stands. Sakura, Ino, Tintin, Temari, and Hinata all waved or shouted encouragement. Even Kakashi and Irika gave him thumbs up. Across from him, Niji Hyuga looked as calm as still water. His Byakugan eyes watched Naruto, not a flicker of emotion on his face. "You should give up," Niji called across the arena. "You're fated to lose. There's no point in fighting destiny." Naruto grinned back. "I make my own destiny, and I'm not alone anymore." The proctor signaled. The fight began. Niji moved first, a blur of palm strikes, faster and deadlier than anything Naruto had faced. Naruto stretched his arms and dodged, barely. One strike clipped him, sending a jolt through his rubbery body. Niji's voice was icy. "You're fast, but your chakra points are wide open." Naruto countered with his new move, Gomu-Gomu no whip. His arm shot out, but Niji dodged and blocked, spinning in place, gentle fist style, trying to shut down Naruto's chakra flow. But Naruto wasn't normal. As Niji struck, Naruto's body twisted and bounced, absorbing the blows. The crowd gasped as Naruto flipped backwards, stretching his leg to trip Niji, who only narrowly avoided it. "You can't win," Niji pressed. "People like you are born to lose to the main house. That's fate." From the stands, Hinata yelled, "Don't listen, Naruto. You can beat him." Sakura, Ino, and Tintin added their voices. Even Temari whistled. "Go, Uzumaki." Niji pressed his advantage, slamming Naruto back with a burst of chakra. Naruto went down hard, but he bounced up, determination blazing. He remembered every word from his friends. Every time he'd felt like a loser. He remembered Hinata, battered but unbroken, facing Niji and refusing to quit. "I don't care about fate," Naruto shouted. "I promised I'd never give up." Niji rushed in for the finishing blow, but Naruto stretched his arm back, twisting around Niji's palm, and shouted, "Gomu-Gomu no Rasengan." The crowd froze as Naruto's spinning chakra ball, delivered with rubbery force, caught Niji square in the chest. Niji tumbled back, stunned. For a heartbeat, no one moved. Then Niji staggered to his feet, breathing hard. His proud mask cracked, just a little. "You really are different," Niji muttered, respect breaking through his usual calm. Naruto grinned, exhausted but still standing. The proctor declared, "Winner, Naruto Uzumaki." The stadium erupted. Sakura leapt up, cheering. Ino and Tintin screamed his name. Hinata clapped, tears in her eyes. Even Temari looked genuinely impressed. Naruto looked up at the stands, breathless and happy, and pointed at his friends. "I couldn't have done it without all of you." For the first time, he didn't feel like the underdog. He felt like a true ninja. And maybe, just maybe, he was finally starting to believe in himself the way everyone else already did. The moment the proctor announced his victory, Naruto barely had time to catch his breath before a tidal wave of attention swept over him. The crowd in the arena kept chanting his name. Kids tried to high-five him through the fence, and even the old folks in the stands were grinning. As Naruto climbed back up to the waiting area, his friends swarmed him. Sakura launched herself at him, hugging him hard before pulling away, face blazing. "Don't ever scare me like that again," she scolded, but her eyes were proud. Ino popped in from behind, wrapping an arm around Naruto's shoulders. "Guess I owe you dinner after all. You're full of surprises, rubber boy." Tintin gave him a light punch in the arm. "Way to show off. I'm making you my training partner next week." Hinata, shaking with happiness, handed him a towel and stammered, "I knew you could do it, Naruto." Even Temari, cool as ever, sauntered over, arms crossed, but her smirk was softer. So the Leaf's wildest ninja actually won. Not bad for now. Naruto scratched his head, cheeks burning, grinning like an idiot. "Ah, come on, it wasn't just me. Everyone helped." The other boys groaned. Kiba jeered. "Don't let the fame go to your head, man." Lee did a full backflip, declaring, "Your youth is burning bright, Naruto." Sasuke watched the chaos from a distance, eyes shadowed but mouth turned up just a bit. Naruto caught his eye, nodded, and Sasuke gave him a grudging, silent thumbs up. Later that evening, the impromptu after-party spilled into Ichiraku Ramen. The ramen shop was packed. Team 7, the other rookie teams, and even Temari and Tintin. Bowls were stacked to the ceiling. Tucci declared, "Naruto eats free tonight." And the girls laughed as Naruto tried to break his own noodle-eating record. Ino kept slipping extra eggs into his bowl. Tintin dared him to stretch a noodle across the table. He did, splattering soup everywhere. Sakura sighed, but secretly smiled at the fun. Hinata, red as a tomato, cheered Naruto on with every bite. Even Temari, though pretending not to care, kept glancing over with something like admiration. Outside, as the party wound down, Naruto stood under the lantern lights, flanked by friends and rivals, and surrounded by a dozen hopeful glances. For once, he didn't feel like the lonely kid in the crowd. He felt like a hero, and maybe like he could have it all. After his win, Naruto barely got a minute's peace. Everywhere he went, villagers pointed and whispered, kids tried to race him down the street, and shopkeepers handed out free dumplings or grilled fish for the hero of Konoha. Naruto didn't mind most of the time, but fame had its price. The morning after the big party, Naruto tried sneaking out for some quiet training by the river. He only made it 5 minutes before he was cornered. First it was Hinata, bringing him a bento. It's for your training, so you don't have to stop for lunch. Her shy smile nearly made him trip over his own sandals. Tintin showed up next, carrying a bundle of practice kunai. No more skipping target training. You're my new sparring dummy. Partner. She winked, making Naruto's cheeks go red. Ino and Sakura arrived together, mid-argument about who should be Naruto's manager for the next round of exams. Ino poked his forehead. We can't have you running wild before the finals, superstar. Sakura dragged him away by the elbow. He needs a real plan, not a bunch of crazy ideas. Temari, lounging nearby with her fan, watched the chaos and called out, better get used to it, Uzumaki. Heroes never get a day off. Naruto tried to hide out on the academy roof, but even Sasuke found him. Sasuke leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Don't get soft just because everyone likes you now. Naruto grinned, flopping down beside him. Jealous team? Sasuke rolled his eyes, but for once, there was no heat in his glare. Just remember, when the finals come, you'll have to fight for real. No harem can help you then. Naruto laughed. You'll see. My friends are my secret weapon. Later that afternoon, Team 7 met to strategize in the training grounds. Kakashi arrived, smiling under his mask. Looks like our rubber ninja is Konoha's new favorite. Don't let it get to your head, but do use it. Let their support push you even harder. Naruto nodded, fire back in his eyes. I will. I'll show them all. As he looked around at his friends, his teammates, and the girls still squabbling in the distance, Naruto felt the pressure, but also the power of having people believe in him. It was both overwhelming and awesome. The Chunin exams weren't over. The village was watching. His friends and admirers were too. And Naruto was determined to go even further, no matter how much trouble fame might bring. After a week of whirlwind fame and frantic training, Naruto hoped for a quiet afternoon. He planned a simple lunch at his favorite spot by the river. Just some peace, ramen, and maybe a nap. Instead, word got out. First came Hinata, nervously clutching a picnic basket. See, can I join you, Naruto-kun? I made on a jirai. Before he could answer, Sakura arrived, waving a shopping bag. Don't eat all those rice balls, Naruto. I brought dessert, if you promise not to eat everything in 3 bites. Tintin showed up next, stretching her arms after morning practice. I heard there was food. And, training tips. Ino and Temari strolled in together, bickering about what made the best picnic food. Ino jabbed Naruto's side. You seriously have a talent for making girls chase you, you know. Temari just grinned. Just don't ask him to cook. Soon the riverside was bustling with laughter, food, and a stack of Naruto's empty ramen cups. Sakura started a game of cards. Tintin taught everyone how to skip stones. Hinata, red-faced, cheered Naruto on as he tried to break his own record. His arms stretched so far, one stone nearly hit the other bank. The picnic felt like the kind of moment Naruto had always wanted. Friends, fun, and a whole lot of people who somehow believed in him. But rivalry never rests. Tintin challenged Ino to a kunai toss contest. Sakura accidentally dealt all aces to herself in cards. Temari and Hinata found themselves competing over who could make the best snack. Naruto, stuck in the middle, felt like his heart might burst or explode from all the attention. After lunch, they all sprawled in the grass, sun on their faces, a gentle breeze blowing off the water. Sakura nudged Naruto. You realize you're the luckiest and most troublesome genin in the village, right? Naruto laughed, rubbing the back of his head. Guess it's not so bad. As long as I don't have to pick favorites. Ino winked. Not yet, anyway. Temari tossed a pebble at Naruto's shoulder. Focus on winning the exams first, hero. Then you can worry about everything else. Hinata smiled softly, eyes shining. We'll all be cheering for you, Naruto. He looked at them, all of them, and felt stronger than ever, with friends and chaos. Like this, how could he lose? Finals day dawned bright and loud in Konoha. Vendors crowded the streets, banners hung from rooftops, and ninja from every nation filled the stands around the stadium. It felt like the whole world was watching, especially Naruto. He'd barely slept, nerves buzzing through him like lightning. But as he made his way through the cheering crowds, he found his friends waiting by the main gate. Sakura, in her best outfit, pressed a lunchbox into his hands. "Don't eat it all before your match, okay? Good luck, Naruto." Tintin gave him a knuckle bump. "Show them what you've got, stretch." Ino fixed his headband for him, grinning. "Don't trip out there, hero. You're representing all of us now." Temari, officially here with the sand, but unofficially Team Naruto, smirked. "Try to win. It'll be more fun to crush you in the next round." Even Hinata, red-faced but determined, handed him a tiny good luck charm. For courage, and for believing in yourself. Naruto looked at the group, so different, so chaotic, and so much like family, and felt all his nerves settle into a wild, hopeful energy. "I won't let you guys down," he promised. Inside the arena, the stands roared as the finalists assembled. Naruto, Sasuke, Temari, Gaara, and the other surviving Genin. Naruto stretched his arms, bouncing on his toes. He could see the crowd, Kakashi, Iruka, his classmates, the Hokage herself. All eyes were on him. Sasuke shot him a sideways glare, but there was pride under the rivalry. "Ready to lose, Dobe?" Naruto grinned, unfazed. "Let's both make it to the end. I want to beat you when everyone's watching." The proctor called out the brackets. Naruto's heart leapt when he saw. First up, Naruto Uzumaki versus Gaara of the Sand. The stadium went quiet, then exploded with anticipation. In the stands, the harem was ready. Sakura squeezed Hinata's hand. "He's got this." Ino waved a homemade "Go Naruto" banner. Tintin grinned, bouncing in her seat. Temari, in the Suna section, tried to look calm, but was gripping her fan just a little tighter than usual. Naruto entered the arena, face to face with Gaara, who stood silent and menacing in the center ring. The sand shifted at Gaara's feet, eager and alive. Naruto took a deep breath and bounced into a fighting stance, arms stretching and ready. "Don't blink," he whispered to himself. "This is my moment." The proctor dropped his hand. "Begin." The whole stadium seemed to hold its breath as Naruto faced Gaara under the midday sun. Even the sand itself felt tense, swirling around Gaara's feet, alive and hungry. In the stands, Sakura, Hinata, Tintin, Ino, and Temari all leaned forward, hearts pounding. Naruto tried to keep his cool, but Gaara's aura was like a crushing weight. Gaara's eyes, ringed in darkness, stared through him. "You're strong, but you're alone," Gaara whispered, sand hissing at his side. Naruto shook his head, stretching his arms in a circle and cracking his knuckles. "Not this time. I've got too many people counting on me." The fight erupted in a blur. Gaara attacked first, sand rushing at Naruto like a tidal wave. Naruto's legs stretched as he dodged, bouncing high over the first attack and swinging a Gomu-Gomu no rocket punch that forced Gaara back. The crowd cheered. Temari jumped to her feet. "Come on, Naruto." But Gaara was relentless. His sand whipped around, trying to grab Naruto by the ankles. Naruto twisted, stretching his body like a rope to slip free. Sand bullets whizzed by, one grazing Naruto's cheek. The pain stung, but he grinned through it. He launched Gomu-Gomu no whip, stretching his arm to knock Gaara sideways. Gaara's sand shield absorbed the blow, rippling like water. Gaara frowned, genuinely impressed. You're different." Naruto braced, channeling chakra for his next move. Gomu-Gomu no Rasengan. He swung his rubbery arm in a wide arc, the spinning chakra ball colliding with Gaara's sand armor. The arena gasped as the shield cracked, sand flying everywhere. In the stands, Sakura grabbed Hinata's hand. "He's actually hurting Gaara." Hinata's eyes glistened. "Go, Naruto." Tintin and Ino cheered, and even Temari, torn between pride for her brother and awe for Naruto, couldn't help but shout, "Don't stop now." Gaara's sand lashed out again, trying to crush Naruto, but Naruto stretched himself thin, bouncing and twisting, refusing to be pinned down. Gaara's voice shook with something close to desperation. "Why? Why aren't you afraid?" Naruto panted, face fierce. "Because I know what it's like to be alone. But I'm not anymore. And you don't have to be, either." For a moment, Gaara hesitated, his sand slowing. But then the monster inside Gaara roared, and the sand surged, wild and furious. Naruto dug deep, thinking of his friends, the girls who believed in him, and everyone watching. He tightened his fists and shouted, "I'll protect everyone, no matter what." With a final leap, Naruto twisted his body, stretching his leg and fist together into a whirlwind. Gomu-Gomu Hurricane Rasengan. His attack smashed through Gaara's last sand barrier, sending him tumbling across the ring. Silence, then an explosion of cheers. Gaara lay still for a long moment, then slowly pushed himself up, looking at Naruto with a strange, grateful wonder. The proctor's voice rang out. "Winner, Naruto Uzumaki." The stadium erupted. In the stands, Sakura was crying, Hinata was beaming, Tintin and Ino tackled each other in a hug, and Temari let out a shaky, proud laugh. Naruto, panting and bruised but victorious, looked up at the stands and waved, heart full. He'd done it, not just for himself, but for everyone who ever believed in him. The roar of the crowd still echoed in Naruto's ears as he stumbled out of the arena, bruised but grinning. The finals had ended in chaos. His win over Gaara now the talk of the village, and even the Hokage herself shaking her head in disbelief. Outside, the festival atmosphere was electric. Everywhere Naruto looked, people waved, cheered, and shouted his name. Vendors handed him free dango and steamed buns. Kids begged him to stretch his arms or show off a Rasengan. Even some of the older ninjas stopped to clap his shoulder. But what hit Naruto hardest wasn't the food or fame. It was when Gaara found him in the corridor, quiet and uncertain, and bowed. "Thank you for showing me I can change too." Naruto smiled, and for the first time, saw a friend in Gaara's eyes. The real chaos, though, was waiting just outside the stadium. Sakura barreled into him for a fierce hug, scolding and crying all at once. Hinata pressed her good luck charm into his hand, blushing so hard she looked ready to faint. Ino snapped a selfie with him before he could protest. Tintin dragged him into a group photo with her scrolls as props. Temari shook his hand, grinning. "You made things interesting, Leaf Boy. I'll be back for a rematch." Even Sasuke appeared from the crowd, giving Naruto a long, thoughtful look before offering a fist bump. "You did it, dope. Guess you're really catching up." For once, Naruto didn't have to chase anyone. His friends, rivals, and harem surrounded him, each trying to get his attention, tease him, or just be near him. That night, Ichiraku Ramen was overflowing. Naruto's entire crew was there, with bowls piled high, laughter echoing, and Ayam threatening to cut him off after his fifth refill. Sakura and Ino argued over who had cheered loudest. Tintin kept challenging everyone to arm wrestling. Naruto kept winning with his stretchy tricks. Temari traded jabs with Naruto about Suna versus Konoha. Hinata, finally working up the courage, offered to make him a victory bento the next morning. Through it all, Naruto sat in the center, soaking up every moment. He looked at the friends who'd always believed in him, at the girls who'd turned his life into a whirlwind, and at the village that finally saw him, not as a troublemaker, but as a hero. As the party spilled out into the starry street, Naruto stood for a long moment, watching the lights of Konoha. He'd started as the outcast. Now, he was the boy who'd changed fate, the ninja who stretched further than anyone imagined. And as Sakura, Hinata, Ino, Tintin, and Temari all shouted for him to hurry up and pick his favorite, with Naruto just blushing and laughing, he realized something. He didn't need to pick just one dream or just one friend. He could keep stretching forward, always, with all of them beside him. Tomorrow would bring new adventures, new rivals, and 1,000 more crazy moments. But tonight, he was home. He was a hero. And for Naruto Uzumaki, the rubber ninja, that was just the beginning. And that wraps up today's story. What if Naruto ate the Gomu-Gomu no Mi? I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did putting it together. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, drop a comment with your thoughts or your own what-if ideas. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.